Okay, welcome. I'm Kathy O'Hara. I am the village president of Lake Bluff, and welcome to our public facilities place. And want to just tell you a little bit that we're very proud to have you all here today. And historically, Lake Bluff has always been very, very much interested in environmental stewardship. And this goes back 100 years. We have ordinances for our trees, our ravines, our beaches, our lakefront, our parks. And the reason is that we want to maintain a high quality of life for our citizens. And we feel that environmental stewardship, frankly, is the way to go. And we're continuing that today to try to protect our natural assets. 2012, we adopted the 60 plus thing that SWALCO has permitted. And I actually had to write down everything that we actually have done because Drew said, please mention all this stuff. So I will, Drew. That's our village administrator. What we've done is we've totally changed our recycling. We offer bins that will fit the need of anybody in their lifestyles. We got very high ones. We can actually put people in them if we wished. Sometimes I do. We are conducting a study right now because we do not have commercial recycling, and that is of great interest to us, so we're certainly undergoing a study in order to be able to do that. We actually passed an ordinance concerning construction and debris ordinance. We also have scrap things that we do now, which we never used to do in the recycling center. Textile that we also do, pharmaceuticals that we do, and of course, 2 years ago, Lake Bluff established a sustainability and beautification committee to actually educate and review best practices in environmental studies and be able to report back to our board on what we should be doing. And of course, now we offer a whole new way to divert I'll say that wrong. Excuse me, stop everybody. I can't believe I was a teacher. Wet waste that we now are beginning to recycle, which basically are food scraps and things. And it is part of our whole scrapyard collection for that. What we are happily doing is I think that we were the first to actually do food scraps and put them as part of our yard waste. We actually were the first to implement it, but I will happily concede to Highwood as being the first to actually sign on the dotted line and have a contract. And what that means is I think both of our communities are literally trying to be at the forefront of best practices and setting the bar that we hope that the rest of the state's communities will also do. Want to thank DK Organics because they have partnered with us to make this happen in a very easy and friendly manner. So I will now turn it over to Charlie, Mayor Picaro.
Thank you very much. I think I'd like to take some and just thank a few, and it knocked me out. Hold on. Thank you very much. Village President O'Hara, SWALCO for doing their part here and getting us organized here in Highwood, Groot, Lakeshore Hauling, Prairie Land also here this afternoon or this morning. Thank you. And most of all, I'd like to thank our staff for getting us in touch. And you keep hearing everyone needs to do their part. We all say it, and I think staff and our city decided to do more than just say it, and we decided to take that first step. What we're trying to do today is it's educate. That's all we can do is educate. We were talking earlier, I don't know, it might be too late for myself, but it's about getting the children educated. They know more about organics and about decomposing food scraps and recycling than I will ever know. And that's a good thing. So they need to know that we're not just talking about it now, we're actually going to start doing it. So how did we get into this? I think it was about 9 years ago. Every year we do a pumpkin fest in Highwood. I don't know if you know what 22,000 pumpkins look like, but when they start decomposing and you need to get rid of them, people are asking, what are you going to do with all these pumpkins? And that's really when it started hitting us. We need to recycle, and that's when organic recycling started kicking in. And that's when Adrian and Scott stepped in and said, hey, have you thought about organic? It made sense because we've been hearing about it for 9 years, getting rid of pumpkins. And the council was all on board. It was a great idea, and here we are today. I was just saying I did my first garbage haul with its own little canister, and it went smoothly. Kids like it. I felt so guilty. I was picking food out of the garbage and putting it into my but you got to do that. You got to take that step and you got to learn, and I think that's the best way of doing it. And I'm very excited for this. Even being at the compost site here in Lake Bluff. But with further ado, I would like to thank everyone, especially staff, for organizing it, Swalco for pushing it along. I'm very excited in educating our future families in Highwood on what organic's all about. So thank you. Who's up?
Good morning. Josh Molnar with Groot Industries. We are fortunate. First of all, thank you, President O'Hara, Walter, and Swalco for having us here. We've had the pleasure of servicing the residents of Lake Bluff for, I think it's a little over 10 years now, and it's an honor to be here. And I think this is kind of reflective of the village and their focus on initiatives to be sustainable. And for us as a hauler, it's kind of always been a situation regarding infrastructure. So when it comes to food scraps, yard waste has always been in place for quite some time, but in terms of infrastructure that'll accept a mix with food scrap has kind of always been the challenge from a hauler perspective. So in terms of Lake Bluff, when we started discussing this idea, it's a unique situation in that they've got an existing relationship with DK Organics, and they are accepting the material. So it's kind of a unique situation in that, and it works really well here. So it's very convenient, and I think that's kind of a key term when it comes to introducing new programs, right, is convenience, especially for the resident. So currently we collect it on a weekly basis year-round. We collect it in Lake Bluff on Mondays and Tuesdays. Residents can mix the yard waste and food scrap together. And in terms of convenience, I think that's the most convenient way to go about it now. I think maybe things will escalate in the future, but I think that's a pivotal to getting participation up, is providing a program that's convenient for the residents to participate in. So I think we'll see that increase over the years. We've also added a cart rental if residents would like to rent a cart on an annual basis to kind of aid in that. As you know, food scrap is wet, and rigid containers kind of help keep that up. So overall, we're happy. We've been able to put out some materials to the residents. They've responded, although participation is somewhat low now. We're at the beginning of the introduction of this program. So I think as we move along, as neighbors see other neighbors participate in this program, we'll probably see that grow. But overall, we're happy to partner with the village and happy to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Bill Kenney. I am the municipal manager with Lakeshore Recycling Systems. First of all, thanks for everyone for showing up and being here. Also, thanks to mayors and Josh. Good to see you with Groot and Walter. Thanks for letting us be a part of this. We are very excited to be part of this partnership with Highwood. It was thought through very deliberately, and we are very excited to be partnering with a city that is so invested in this process. There are so many benefits to organics that we've been a little bit slower to realize in the Midwest. That's for any number of things. But we're getting there methodically, and companies like us that are very focused on increasing the awareness of that, companies like Groot, we're, again, very, very excited to be at the forefront of this. Our program just started in May with the city of Highwood. We've gotten really good feedback so far, to the extent, well, it's only May 10th, but so far so good. There is a learning process. There is an outreach process. There's an education process, but it's comprehensive. We're working with the city to alert residents to best practices. That's going well. So aside from organics, we've also sort of extended our capabilities with residents in terms of what they can recycle, not just conventional single stream stuff, but ancillary forms of recycling, whether that's batteries or light bulbs, those sorts of things too. And again, the city was so aggressive in terms of what their expectations were and making sure that we knew that and we were on board immediately. So again, we're very, very pleased to be a part of such a great community like Highwood. We're grateful for the opportunity and grateful for the opportunity to be here to talk to you folks. And with that, I'll I'll leave it to Walter. Or okay, thank you again.
David Gorder from DK Organics. We're very, very pleased to be working with the village here, taking the next logical step in terms of organics recycling. We've been a partner with the village since the early 1990s, so this makes total sense that we're embarking with them on this new and exciting chapter. When you think about what has been accomplished over the last, well, since 1988, when the laws changed in the state of Illinois preventing organic waste from filling the landfills, we've literally carved years out of the life of these landfills and have extended them in a great deal. And we think that by diverting food scraps, we will just continue that. These are baby steps we're taking. We think we know a lot. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to continue to monitor it. Obviously, in the composting business, the name of the game is making sure that there's no smell. We've done a pretty good job of making sure that's the case with our regular organics waste, and we see that there would be no reason why this wouldn't continue with the food waste, especially if we go slow and steady and we're able to break in and study and learn. So we're delighted. We're open for questions at any time if anybody wanted to talk to me further about it, but delighted that Swalco has pushed us and been a partner in this and has embraced new concepts, and we'll see how it goes. But thanks for being here and caring. Next.
Well, good morning. It's Walter Willis with the Solid Waste Agency of Lake County, and we're surrounded by compost product, and I think we'd all agree that it'd be better to take our yard waste and our food scrap and make a new product with it than it would be to bury it in our landfills forever, which is going to create some methane. As Village President O'Hara indicated, there was a 60% document we created in 2010. People in the audience here actually served on that advisory committee. It took us a while. In 2010, we started planting the seed with food scraps. We knew for us to get to 60%, we have to start going after the organic fraction of our waste stream. And so it took us a while, but we have some towns here that want to be leaders, and I really want to congratulate you for taking that idea and making it reality. As we know in Swalco with our 43 members and the county, when one town starts to do something, it has a ripple effect. It truly does. So we're looking forward to that. And this will be key for us to drive down our disposal rate, which is what we're really focused on. I also want to point out this flyer. We'll give it to the press, but this design was actually done by, I'll get her name right here, Ursula Gutowski, and she's a graphic designer from Niles, Illinois. This was a national contest. I also want to thank Commit to Green for helping put this flyer together. And it's got a lot of good information on it. I want to talk about some of the growth in our programs here in Lake County. It really started in 2015 with Highwood putting it into a contract for the first time, and then some of the towns doing the ride-along program. And I want to mention those towns that have that option so that the people in these towns hopefully know they can start to put their food scrap in with their yard waste at no additional cost. So that would be Bannockburn, and the mayor's here, Deer Park, Fox Lake, Grays Lake, Hawthorne Woods, Highland Park, obviously Highwood, Island Lake, Lake Bluff, Mundelein. Mundelein's here today, North Barrington. North Barrington actually has 150 homes that have year-round service, but it's not community-wide in the contract. You have to opt in for that service and pay extra. Port Barrington, Riverwoods, Tower Lakes, and Volo. So it's really started to take off, and I think that's good for people to kind of get used to participating in food scrap. We also have 2 drop-offs in our county. We had the very first one in the state, and that's located in Grays Lake at their drop-off facility, and also Prairie Land Disposal has one at their facility in Lake Barrington. So that's another option for people. If you're doing the ride-along during the 8-month season, you've got an option during those 4 winter months. On the commercial side, we've got a lot of potential growth there. We know we've got most of our grocery stores doing it, about 30 of them, about 1,000 tons a year being diverted, most of it going to compost facilities in our county. We're actually blessed with a very good infrastructure. I mean, that was a word that was brought up. To keep costs down, we've got 9 composting sites in this county. We've got 8 transfer stations that can move yard waste. one that soon will be able to do it with food scrap. We manage 115,000 tons per year here in Lake County in our sites. So we've got the infrastructure, and so that's very important. We also have to make a commitment to market. As Dave Gorder will tell you, I can't keep bringing material on my site. I've got to take some off. And so we're really working hard with the Illinois Food Scrap Coalition to create markets. We've been meeting with DOT. We're meeting with the farming community. We have to start working with our local public works departments and street departments to use more of this product in a soil blend for growing. There's huge job potential here. Another driver that the Food Scrap Coalition had a report done along with 7 Generations Ahead, looked at the economic impact of pulling this material out of our landfills. If we divert 65%, which would be about 1.2 million tons a year, we do about 500,000 tons a year yard waste. So we have to triple what we're doing. It could create over 3,000 jobs and $290 million a year in annual economic activity. So it's a potent economic development if we continue to commit to these programs. So really, to wrap up, this is kind of a call to action for residents in those towns that I mentioned. Definitely get in contact with your town, with your hauler, get to know the rules of your program. To the municipalities and others, we have to really look at creating markets for this material. The more we can create markets for it, the more that Dave Gorder and compost sites are going to go, hey, bring us more, bring us more, bring us that 1.2 million tons a year. We'll be ready for it. So for other information, you can always go to our website at swalco.org or the Food Scrap Coalition site at illinoiscompost.org. So I'm going to let the chairman of Swalco kind of wrap things up. Glenn? All right.
So in addition to being the mayor up in Wadsworth, I'm also privileged to be the chairman of the board of directors of Swalco. And I think back to my early meetings back in 1993 and things the agency was doing at that time. It's progressed tremendously over the years. And the products, as Dave mentioned from DK Organics, this product was formerly locked into the landfill. And if you look at the piles here, think about adding those piles to the landfill and reducing the life of the landfill. How many of you remember reading in the paper over the years when we were down to 2 landfills, Grays Lake and Zion? There's 6 years left, 7 years left, 8 years. I think that was about 20 years ago they were publishing those numbers. And with this new 60% initiative, the life continues to be extended and the product is not locked up. Once it's in the landfill, you really can't go back in and get it because it's in there making methane gas, as Dave pointed out. So keep sending the products, and as Walt said, we keep finding markets to send the finished product out to, and it's a happy ending for everyone. Thank you.